Hello, I'm Adam Paul Morgan. Thank you for clicking onto what is a little tribute video of mine to the Nintendo Wii U. Today being the 2nd of March 2017 only means that the Nintendo Switch, the next Nintendo home console, hybrid or portable, whichever way you want to see it, is coming out tomorrow, and I'm getting that on day one. So that means this is sort of the last day for the Nintendo Wii U. It's took a lot of stick over the years for one reason or another. Game developers, game reviewers, YouTubers, the general public and things like that. Not that many people own one of these. I do, and I like this console, and it's, as I said before, this is my little tribute to the Nintendo Wii U console. So what about my story with the Wii U before I'd even thought about doing this whole YouTube-y stuff? The Nintendo Wii U was the first home console I'd ever owned on day one of launch. I didn't get the GameCube on day of launch. I didn't get the Wii on launch. Nor the Xbox One, the PS3, all the consoles I've ever owned as a home console, I've never ever got on day one. I got the Nintendo 3DS at launch, but I never got a home console at launch. So this was my first home console at launch. And on day one, it was somewhat promising, really. In order to own one of these, there was one or two good games with it. Like, this is the 32 gig model, or the controller for this. The system's actually still plugged into the machine, and it was a really good console. I enjoyed it on day one. Super Mario Brothers, new Super Mario Brothers I should say, Wii U, 2D platformer, brilliant. I could play it off screen. Batman Arkham City, that came out for the console, brilliant. I could play that on day one off screen. Call of Duty Black Ops 2, which is really one of the sort of start of the downfall in the Call of Duty series, but that's another topic altogether. Enjoyable game, but it did start to go downhill with the futuristic settings and things like that. Still an okay game. I got to play it off screen, got to play it online with a few, not that many people, but I got to play it online for free on Nintendo's network. It was a free service. At the time, something's going on with the new Nintendo, but that's something completely different altogether. So it was the very, very first home console of mine I managed to get on day one. But then, of course, the few problems started with it. The Nintendo, with the TV, the Nintendo thing, that got discontinued. But one thing that was happy, that did have the little TV button, and you can configure this controller in order to change channel, change AV settings, get the guide up, change channel as I say, and do the volume control as well. So that was one little good thing about it, but it does drain the battery, and my wife does prefer using this than an actual television controller. Different story altogether. But the idea of playing it off screen was, for me, the big selling point of this thing. But the range was a bit of a problem. My toilet is a good few meters away from where my television is in the main Nintendo, and there's a couple of walls and doors there, so the signal couldn't always get through. But lately, I've noticed with the Wii U, maybe it's a sign coming, I'm having problems trying to get this thing connected to the actual Wii U, and I'm only just, say, 2 meters away from the actual console, and I'm having connection problems with it. Maybe a sign of the new Nintendo cometh, I don't know. It's a bit like Doctor Who, when you know the Doctor's going to regenerate into the next Doctor. It's like with Nintendo, particularly with Nintendo more than any other console, it's the end of one era and bringing up the new era of another. It's slightly weird, it really is, but there's loads and loads of sort of problems up and down with the life of this Nintendo Wii U. It didn't really have any of the big games. When you come to think about it, there was no Grand Theft Auto, FIFA, which is a big seller, Call of Duty, it was really stopped after Call of Duty Ghosts. Okay, that was definitely not one of the best Call of Duty games. In fact, it's not one of the best games ever made, but it was a big seller, and it stopped coming out post that for Advance Wars, etc., for the system. And there was quite a few games that never came out, that were coming out on the PS3, PS4, Xbox One, and Xbox 360 that never came out on the Wii U. There was all sorts of problems, like the way it was advertised. I never thought about this until it was sort of mentioned by other people on YouTube, and I went back to check out the big launch. I knew from E3 it was a new console, but the typical casual player who would probably buy one of these, have a few goes on it for friends and family, etc., the way this was advertised, it did generally seem that you were just going to buy this and you plug this into your current Wii or connect it up right to your current Wii. That was it, job done, don't have to worry. But it didn't seem like that. That wasn't the case. It was a whole new system, a new £250 new system where you'd have to transfer all the data from your Wii to your Wii U, which was a lot of fun with that video. If anyone remembers doing the Pikmin video back in the day, that was a lot of fun, but all of a sudden, gone. It just didn't seem to work. But the one thing about games consoles that people seem to forget these days is the games. And of course there was some bad games for the console, which games console doesn't have a complete 100% library of good games. Now some of the bad games, get them out of the way. Star Fox Zero, I had it, I played it, I was very disappointed. Zombie U, it was one of the launch titles which I never got on launch, but I did get it within a couple of weeks, and I was very how can I put this, annoyed at that game of how boring it was. That's just my opinion. Now Animal Crossing, a lot of people said that for the Wii U wasn't very good. I never played it myself. And Mario Party 10, same story. I never played it myself, but I've heard a lot of bad things about it. But some of the good games for the Wii U, which are really mainly majority exclusives for the Wii U, Mario Kart 8, the two Zelda HD games, Twilight Princess and Wind Waker, very good games. Yes, they are remakes, but they were very good remakes at that. Splatoon, how much fun is Splatoon? It is seriously good fun, but not necessarily for sort of in-house two-player co-op mode or anything like that, but online shooters, very, very good. Super Smash Brothers for the Wii U. I'm going to call it, that's my favourite Smash Brothers. I don't know why. I don't know what it is. Pikmin 3. What a gorgeous game that was for the system as well. And fun and challenging as well. And of course, Mario Makers are probably one of the best games for it as well. And yes, the Wii U successor is coming out the same day as the Nintendo Switch, which brings the Breath of the Wild. But if you're not getting the Switch and you have the Wii U lying around, you can play Breath of the Wild on this thing. Obviously you can't play it all the way to my toilet and back. If you're watching this in America, that is a long distance to my toilet and I wouldn't recommend the journey. But you could play it on the Nintendo, you can play it on the Wii U. I'm personally getting it for the Switch, but you can play it for the Wii U. Now, of course, the virtual console thing, there was quite a few systems and from back in the day, from older Nintendo things, that you could play this. The Wii, there was no GameCube, unfortunately, but the Super Nintendo, I got the Link to the Past. I've been playing that on this thing. The Mario games. It's why I never got the NES game, the NES remake, mini NES Classic. I never got that because I was playing all these games on this system here, and there's loads of games. Me and my wife have had some great fun playing, say, Mario Kart, Smash Brothers, playing this in sort of two-player mode and online. Okay, it's not the best online service in the world, but it was good fun as and when it was working. But it's the end, unfortunately, for this console. It's the same with every console. When the Super Nintendo came out, then the Nintendo 64, the GameCube, and the Wii, then the Wii U, of course. It's time for the Wii U to be put away. But I'm not going to put it away, because, for a very good reason, I can still play Wii games on it. I can still play some of the Wii U games, which I still haven't got around to completing yet. But most of all about the Wii U, it's introduced the world to definitely Amiibo. Now with Breath of the Wild coming out, the Wolf Amiibo that you can play, the Cave of Shadows on Twilight Princess HD, collect the heart, I don't know exactly how it works, then you can bring that data to the new Breath of the Wild game. Now that is something, as sad as it sounds, the one thing I'm really looking forward to about the Wii U. Switch version Breath of the Wild, I should say. But that's the end of the Wii U for in general. And yes, there is a couple of games that are coming out for the Switch. There's 3 that I can think of at the top of my head that are out on the Wii U that will be coming for the Switch. Of course, you've got the Breath of the Wild, which is coming out on the Wii U. It's also coming out on the Switch. But Mario Kart Deluxe, they've just improved on what is probably the best game for the Wii U. Of course, that's coming out. And yes, it is on my pre-order list as well. But Lego Undercover City, the brilliant open world style Lego game, that is also coming out for the Switch. I won't be getting it for the Switch because I'm enjoying it on the Wii U at the moment. So that's why I won't again at that. Of course, there may be many others virtual console things to come out. Maybe there's going to be a Nintendo Switch virtual console for Wii U games. Now that's something I'm really looking forward to. Maybe there's a few problems with this sort of off-screen sort of thing, but Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze, I don't actually recall any major touchscreen facilities on that. Maybe Mario 3D, well, maybe that'll be able to play on the new Nintendo Switch in many years to come. I don't know, but obviously with Mario Odyssey coming out, maybe they'll hold back. I don't know. Only the future holds for the Nintendo Switch, but for the Wii U, it's time to say goodbye and to move on. So I'm Adam Paul Morgan. Thank you very much for watching. Ta-ra.